So in order that everyone has the same type of information on their page and no one is going to alter the information, we have to provide a seal on the page, and that seal is being created by the process of mining. So what is mining? Let's see what is mining. A mining is a process of solving a mathematical puzzle. So for right now, let's just consider we have a machine in which we give some input. Let's just say we give input A, B, C, D, and we get some output which we don't know. We have no idea what is going inside this machine. So whatever the input you give to the machine, it gives you some corresponding output. So mining is a process in which you have to create an output. Now let's just say that the mining is a process of finding a input which will lead to an output of 5 zeros. So what you can do, since you have no idea how this number is being calculated and you have no idea or how to reverse engineer it, so what you can do, you have to put some random numbers. So you start with 1. You will start with 1 and check whether the output is 5 zeros or not. Then you will go to 2. Then you will go to 3. And you will keep continuing until you find a number n which will give me 5 zeros. Until and unless you find a number n which will give me 5 zeros, the mathematical complex problem is not solved. And once you find a number n which will give me that 5 zeros, it is said that you have found a nonce. So this number n is known as a nonce. So it is being said that you have found a nonce which solves the mathematical problem and hence meets the difficulty level of the current system. But you must be wondering here, if only we have to give numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and we know the output, it might be easy after some time that we can dynamically program it, and that dynamic programming itself decide what numbers will lead to that output. But in ideal situation, only this nonce is not being fed to this machine. Along with the nonce, all the transaction data that you had in your page, let's just say this was your page in which you had 10 transactions in this. But in reality, not only the nonce is fed to the machine, along with the nonce, some other type of data is also fed to the machine, which is one of the data is the transaction data, all the transactions that you had in your page. Along with that, there are some other factors that dependent upon the different blockchains, but the most common factors are the version of your blockchain, the block number. Since this was a first page, let's just consider as a block number 1. So the block number will be 1 here. Also the difficulty level. Now what is difficulty level? Difficulty level is basically defines that how many zeros you are going to conclude. That means if you have, let's say, difficulty of 2, that means you have to find an input which will give me 2 zeros. If you have a difficulty of 100, then you have to find an input which will give me 100 zeros. So this is a kind of a one-to-one mapping between the difficulty and the target, but this is not always the case. It may vary depending upon your consensus mechanisms. So you don't only have to send the nonce in the machine. So along with the nonce, you have to send some other type of data to the nonce. One of that data is the transactional data, all the transactional data that you done in your page, and then the version of your blockchain, and then you have a block number. Now since you had this first page in your blockchain, let's just consider the block number 1. And then you had a difficulty. Difficulty is basically related to number of zeros that you are going to achieve. So along with the nonce, which is a randomly generated number from 1 to n, once you reach to a nonce n and you get an output which have 5 zeros, it is being considered as a nonce of that block. Since the transactional data is fixed, the block number is fixed, the difficulty is fixed, the only factor that is changing is nonce. So once you find a nonce of input which will leads to an output of 5 zeros, it is being considered that you have bind the block. Now let's get back to the example. Where we had our 5 persons who were interacting with each other, and let's assume D has find that nonce. So what D will do, D will say, I have found the nonce and this is the seal of the block. Please everyone in the network put that seal on your page. So what everyone will do, everyone will put a seal on their page with the nonce that was calculated from the D. So once that seal is being made on the page, now everyone will turn the page and start with new set of transactions. So this is how blockchain works.